follow you on the channel. Love your stuff, man. Great work.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Looking forward to today's recap.
Yeah.
So early March to me means the Road Apple Roubaix out in Garretsville. This was their 10th anniversary, and this one is always sentimental to me because it's the first organized event that I've ever done. It's kind of a mix between country roads and gravel roads. I kind of think of it as like a road ride with gravel segments, but they changed the course this year. There was the 50 mile used to be about a 42 mile, and there were more gravel segments than ever. Anyways, I know a lot of people complain about the prices of events lately, and this one is one of the best values you'll find. It's 40 some bucks, and you get a pint glass, a beer, a bowl of chili, chip timing, marked course, aid stations, the after party. So it's kind of the whole thing and a really good value. And then they're a charitable organization for the community as well. Right off the bat, I ran into some friends from Pittsburgh. They brought a crew with their cycling club of 25 people. A lot of people from Dirty River here in Akron come out, Joy Machines people from Cleveland, and just a lot of other people I've met from the cycling community over the years. So that, you know, community aspect of people I already know makes it a lot of fun. And then just meeting new people, which I'll get into a little bit. The course change was really good. Everyone I talked to seemed to really like the longer course. It took out some long, kind of road sections where you're on a shoulder to add in more gravel. There's also a town you had to ride through twice that had traffic lights. That was a little bit of a pain, and it was a little better without having to go through there 2 times. The only thing is it meant we split off earlier with the 25. I think we spent less time overall with the 25 milers. So I guess that could be considered a downside. Anyways, this is one of the races for some reason. Like I said, it's not a race, but it's a race that I always try and go out and just ride really well in. I'm not like going into the red, finishing the race like a pro where I'm falling over on my side, but I always do try and push it. I guess I use it as, motivation through the winter to try and stay in shape. This year, that kind of didn't really happen just because of my work schedule and everything. So I was gone for a week in Boston, and then January's weather was horrible. Erin's been recovering from her ankle injury, been riding with her a lot, but before she wasn't riding, so a little less motivated. So I was really curious to see how I'd be able to push it, being less in shape than I usually am. I also didn't ride the trainer at all this year. I've mentioned that before. I'm worried that my new kitty, Edmund, will walk into the spokes or into my cranks. So I haven't messed around with the trainer even in the bad weather. But when I set off, I was following my buddy Ben. He came up to me on that first hill, and I showed him there from the side. And he was going really strong, and I was able to hang with him until the split, which I think came at about mile 8 or 9. And yeah, I felt like I'm like, wow, I'm going really good. And by the time I did finally look down at I turned the map page off on my Wahoo to see how I'd been going. And I was like, man, I'm going pretty strong. It actually made me a little bit worried that maybe I was going too strong. But yeah, you could always deal with that later. Anyways, here we are out on the gravel thing. It was also manure spreading season out in farm country, which adds a nice odor to the air if you've ever been out in the country at all. But yeah, so the race actually sold out at 600. I think that's the most they've ever had, because all week long the forecast was showing upper 50s, maybe even hitting 60, and sunny. As you can see here, that is not actually the weather that we got. This is the split for the 25 here.
12 miles in, I had gone out hard, 17.5 mile an hour average. I think that was probably too hard. We'll see what happens. But that's a pretty good 12 miles.
So yeah, I was super impressed with how I was going. I didn't really expect that I was in that kind of shape. I just had no idea, really. Here, I've caught up to my buddy Aaron. No, they caught up to me. He was with a whole group of people. They kind of went by, then I'm like, you know what? Try and hang with this group for a while. So I did. I kind of yo-yoed with them, trying to hang on, trying to get some of that draft. That's one of the things about Road Apple is it's usually super windy out here in these like farm fields and country roads and all that stuff. So I know in other years I've really either tried to push it to hang with a group to know that it would be worse to fall off on my own, or even on certain segments maybe slow down a little bit to stick with a group. It's always like a good strategy at this ride because it is generally so windy. But actually with this drizzly, cloudy sky, I don't know if it had anything to do with that, but it just wasn't quite as windy. There was always wind blowing, don't get me wrong, but there are usually you turn into brutal headwinds on this ride. So it was kind of a relief that it wasn't like that. So weather-wise, 40s and a little bit drizzly, but most of the getting wet on this ride was from the road spray. It never really rained. You know, the rain actually stopped on our way to Garretsville, but it always kind of misted. I wasn't that mad about the weather. I really don't like riding in snow and ice in an event like this, and some of these, you know, gravel roads stay in the shade. So there's been other years where, you know, you had to worry about the surface. So not having to do that, to me, I would take this. And you know, 40s, upper 40s by the end of the race just doesn't feel that bad in Northeast Ohio this time of year, whereas that would have, you know, when I did a ride, higher ground in the fall, that felt like brutal. But yeah, now we're in it, now we're used to it. Clothing strategy wise for me, I wore tights and some shorts over them. Reasonably thick wool socks with just my Vans, old school, so didn't go too crazy down there. And then I wore a wool blend jersey I have with my windbreaker, and then a wool cap. And not too long in, I had the windbreaker undone. I also had wool gloves on. I think I took off about, I'm not sure, maybe 20 miles in. There was a moment, and I talked to some other riders about this, where it just felt like the temperature dropped for a little while. I don't know if we hit some kind of depression, microclimate, whatever it was. But besides the gloves, I kind of went with the strategy I'd started with, and it worked out really good. Now, you never know in these things, so it's nice when you don't have to stop and mess with your clothes.
21 miles, still have the 17.5 average, because I kind of was with the group for a while. Motivated me to stay in the draft. Feeling okay so far, long way to go.
Yeah, so I found myself alone a lot on Road Apple, like I often do, which I just kind of ride my own pace. Like I mentioned earlier, I will try and stay in drafts sometimes, and it is nice to ride with friends and have a little bit of conversation. I had conversation with strangers and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes you just find yourself on your own because you just are doing your thing. So that's fine. It's just how it goes. I have to say the boost I got from people saying what's up to me out on the road, "Hey Tim, how's it going?" was awesome. I really appreciate that. So if you're one of those people, thanks so much. It meant a lot and really kept me going.
Some slow gravel now. Really soften the legs. I'll take a little pavement break after all that slow gravel. "15 more miles. Still doing good. Big gravel climb coming though. We'll see if that finishes me off."
So the wetter soft gravel on the back half of the course did slow down my average, but I didn't mind it at all. I really liked the course, the new course, and it was a lot of fun out there anyways, so no complaints.
10 miles left. Biggest hill of the day is on the way though. Gonna finish this, and I think I'm gonna be pretty happy with how I did. Around where?
I'm back there and I'm here.
Stole Rusty's beer hand up. Here he comes.
So I didn't know my buddy Rusty was doing this ride, so another huge boost to run into him. A couple friends right here, Kelly and her dad that I passed. So another boost to say what's up before this long descent. So yeah, I just felt great. I don't know. I rode better than I thought I would. I ended up more with like 15.5 mile an hour average, which after the climbing and the gravel in the back half, you know, I'm pretty happy with. It's not a super climby ride overall, but you know, it was weighted towards the backside, I think, with the climbing this year.
Home stretch. Sloppy bike path time.
The finishing running down the Headwaters Trail there, I think there's 4 miles on it. It's always soggy and slow or covered in ice, and even in dry years you hit that and then you end up like covered in all the road grit. But I've actually come to really appreciate it. It's like hit that section and then just give it everything you have. And so I'm always proud of myself when I hit that and just go. I was riding along with a couple of people and trying to pick the best line, and I don't know, I think it's kind of a fun run into the finish, and then finishing back here downtown in Garretsville is cool too.
The other one too. This is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed.
I think I look good.
make sure the fingers get to do the whole bit.
Babe, tip to tail. Oh, we're gonna do a little runway. Oh,
Or is that, how do they,
that is exactly how they do it. Like I said before, Paris Fashion Week has got nothing on you.
So yeah, another great Road Apple in the books. The rest of the day was the after party. They do plank contests and arm wrestling contests, eating food, drinking beer, chatting with friends. Like I said, a lot of you came up and said what's up who knew the channel, and I so appreciate that. Sorry if I'm a little awkward sometimes. I'm not the most outgoing guy, but I still do love it when people say what's up. So keep doing that. But all in all, super happy with my ride, as I was mentioning. It seemed like most people were. Nothing off happened. When I did finish, my legs cramped really bad. I've never had that. It was hard to switch into my dry clothes, but that went away in a little while. And so that's it for this year. Give this video a like and check out our little store down below.
the later put yours on the inside? Look at this bullshit.
It makes more sense in the end. Babe, leave me alone.